Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I am your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. And you can also find me live late on YouTube on this Tuesday evening, rolling at about 10:30 on this July 18th episode because, hey, surprise, Tawaski Abrams, TJ Abrams commits to the Florida Gators, flips from rival Florida State. Speedy wide receiver. We'll get into it right here on this episode of Gators Breakdown. Not total surprise. We've heard his name brought up plenty of times since he visited Florida. I'm not sure of a timeline. Of course, we've discussed him a good bit the last couple of weeks. Wasn't sure when, if it was going to happen. Not totally surprised it happened, but maybe more of a timeline surprise of when it happened. Maybe some other things happen behind the scenes and the wide receiver recruiting. Of course, Jeremiah Smith's name is going to come up and what it means for him. Look, he's always going to have a spot. I'm not saying he's coming to Florida, not coming to Florida. I mean, I've said pretty much the whole time, I think he sticks with Ohio State in the end. But I don't, not sure this is in relation to so much. I mean, if anything happens down the road, Jeremiah Smith's got a spot. So, but we know that. But hey, this is about Abrams, his commitment right here for the Gators, giving the Gators 21 commitments. 21 right here, just past mid-July, and 21 players in this 2024 class for Billy Napier. Getting some speed at this wide receiver position. We'll get into that right here on this episode of Gators Breakdown. Everybody hit that like button. Hopefully you're catching us live right here. I know impromptu episode right after this commitment right here. Get some notes together, of course, to get it going right here. So like this episode, subscribe right here on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform as well. All that stuff really supports Gators Breakdown, helps us keep going, out there. All the support you guys show, even more support you can have right there at Gators Breakdown Plus. Link is in the description to join their Discord server, of course, and all the recruiting talk going on there. It's kind of just taken over, of course, with this exciting summer the Gators have had. If you want to have more conversation with me, have more conversation with other Gator fans, that's one of the best places to do it out there. Conversation all day, every day, right there in that Gators Breakdown Plus Discord. You get extra episodes, some chats coming up as well as we approach this season. A lot coming up right there on Gators Breakdown Plus. And of course, one more time, let's shout it out to them. Florida victorious. All this good news this summer for the Gators. Hey, look. NIL's got to be attractive out there. It's got to be attractive to keep our student athletes, keep our football players, attract all the new ones out there. Right now, you can get 20% off your first month. Promo code GatorsBD. Link is in the description to join Florida Victorious as well. Some really neat stuff going on there. You got some freshman profiles. We will not get to hear from the freshmen too much this year, but Florida Victorious has got you covered. So if you want to hear right now from Roderick Kearney and his thoughts on his short career at Florida so far, you can go hear from Roger Kearney from Florida Victorious. So 20% off your first month, promo code GatorsBD. Link is in the description to join all these awesome products. Gators Breakdown Plus, Florida Victorious. Really, really got it going on right there. So hot summer for the Gators. I mean, it just keeps on. I don't think I would have said 21 commits right here in July. I think we knew a summer run was coming. I don't think I saw this. And like I said, even specifically this one, the timeline right here for Abrams. But hey, we got it. We got it right here. And you know how we do it. Let's get it going, Gator Nation. Hey, we got to commit this one. Tawaski Abrams, TJ Abrams, as he will go by as well. 4-star on both the 24/7 Sports Composite. A 4-star on the On3 industry rankings as well. 24/7 Sports Composite has him as the 276th overall player in the country, the 40th wide receiver. The On3 industry rankings has him as the 263rd overall and the 46th wide receiver. And Abrams has been committed to Florida State since January, but visited Florida in June. And we knew about the possibility of a flip, and it was kind of ramping up after that official visit to Gainesville. Says he'll be an early enrollee. He wants to be a part of what Florida has to offer outside of football. That's a big, big selling point right here for Abrams and his family. But also, of course, the plan on the field. It's going to come down to football. What can you do football-wise? And Billy Gonzalez coming through here a bit with the Kadarius Toney comparison. Abrams out there in some recent interviews out of that visit in June. Kadarius Toney's name's coming up, and that resonated with Abrams and had to take advantage of his speed and had to be used by Billy Gonzalez. And of course, different offenses, of course, but you find ways to get balls in people's hands like that can make people miss, run away from people, and that's what this staff was able to sell Tawaski Abrams on. So big speed pickup here for the Gators. And we'll go keep it going right here. If you're watching the YouTube version, hey, we're gonna have those huddle highlights again. I'm gonna start doing this a good bit, but also I'll be reading along with this the 24/7 sports analysis of Abrams. So we'll get the highlights rolling and just have those playing in the background here. But Andrew Ivins of 24/7 Sports says a weapon in the slot that can produce chunk plays. Averaged 11.6 yards per touch as a junior, racking up 677 yards of total offense for a Dunbar squad that made the semifinals of Florida's 3S playoffs. Size isn't verified, but top end speed as he clocked 8 sub-11 second efforts in the 100-meter dash as a 10th grader. That included a wind-aided 10.62 at IMG Academy. One of the best in the Sunshine State when it comes to dancing, juking his way out of trouble. Obviously has the burst to find pay dirt anytime the ball is in his hands, but does a nice job, at least on Friday nights, of finding some creases where he can hit the turbo button. Tends to freelance a bit as a route runner, but understands how to shake defenders and create separation. Should be viewed as a dynamic playmaker that can be utilized in a variety of ways on offense. He's gotten reps at running back in the past and also can double as a return man. Will likely need some time to polish up his game once he arrives at the college of his choice, but the makeup of someone that can eventually make an impact at the Power 5 level. Biggest thing over the next few years is going to be getting that body right, adding good size and weight. And of course, that comes up, his size, if you're watching the highlights here, of course, on the huddle side here, but he comes in 5'11", 175, if he's the 175 here. So, but yeah, that's kind of the measurements both services had him at. So, I think you trust close to the 5'11", 175 right here for Abrams. But yeah, I mean, utility man for Dunbar. They went 10-2. Totaled 429 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns on 37 catches last season. He also carried the ball 21 times for 248 yards, 2 more touchdowns. Played a little bit of defense as well. As a sophomore in 2021, he caught 25 passes for 414 yards and 6 touchdowns in 10 games. He also averaged 12.7 yards per kick return, 10 yards per punt return in 2021. So, looking at the huddle highlights here, and of course, now you see him he's lined up right here at linebacker. So as I mentioned, you'll hear the Kadarius Toney reference, of course, and now you see the highlights, and you see him getting fast, speed, outside, outrunning angles right there. So I mean, you see it. Of course, the versatile playmaker. They're going to be using him in that. And another right here in the backfield, and yep, there we go. Nice little move. There. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's outrunning angles, creating. I mean, that run right there should never even happen. The guys, they should have had him wrapped up, making some missed tackles. As they said, hits the turbo button and he's going. And there he goes. Hey, I don't mind seeing that. A little bit of physical run, not the biggest body out there, but not getting tackled, breaking 2 or 3 tackles right there, and making about a 25, 30-yard run. So showing some physicality, at least from the running back spot as well, even though he's not the biggest body out there. So it looks like we got a little bit of special teams coming up as well as a punt returner. So, but yeah, I mean, this is obviously with his size, you're wanting to put a little bit of size on, and not necessarily enough to lose the speed. But that's what they work on there. So versatile playmaker here. Tawaski Abrams, TJ Abrams, right here for the Florida Gators. I'll let this last highlight play through, and then we'll get back. There you go. That's just showing some blocking, showing how to be a team player right there for Abrams. But yeah, I think speed. You can't teach it. Of course, we know all that. And hey, there's a nice little go up and get it type of play. Not necessarily having to show the speed off, not necessarily outrunning somebody, but being able to just go up and catch a pass. One more screenplay here as he goes and making something happen. I mean, making guys miss. Not just a outrun straight line speed, but he's gonna make some guys miss in space as well. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. When you go start comparing him to Kadarius Toney, it's not necessarily. It's not necessarily straight line speed. We know Kadarius Toney was fast, but it was the jitterbug moves. It was the speed in space. It was I'm going to make 2 or 3 moves. I'm going to make 2 or 3 people miss, maybe even sometimes more, and get my butt down the field and go get some yards and score a touchdown. So what it does for Florida in this wide receiver class is. Now, of course, reputation for Billy Gonzalez coming from Billy Napier was the big body possession type of receivers later in his career at Florida. Well, now you look at it, he comes back, and look, I know we all want, the big fish out there. We already discussed that, but what Florida has in this 2024 class right now, a lot of speed. We just had Jere Hawkins, him commit. 175th overall player, one of the fastest players in the country. You got some speed right there. Now Abrams joins the class. Well, Jere Hawkins, 5'9", 165. There's your listing. Abrams, 5'11", 175. Then Isaiah Williams, committed, seems like a long time ago, with this kind of streak Florida went on, but it was only in May, May 5th. So, but Isaiah Williams, 331st overall, but 6 foot, 172. So Hawkins, 5'9", 165. Abrams, 5'11", 175. Isaiah Williams, 6 foot, 172. So, you're looking at that, a lot of speed. Go back to Williams. You might need a refresher because, I had to go back and look at it too. But, clocked the laser time 4.640 in the 40-yard dash. So you can see the focus of this wide receiver, even going back to last wide receiver class, was just upgrading the speed at the position. We know Florida needed it. We know Florida had to kind of get away from the big bodies that receiver that just were not doing much here at Florida. Now you got a nice mix. Now a lot of your veterans are still that big body, and now a lot of your young guys are coming in for that speed. So maybe we start to see the mix of it this year. We're all looking forward to those true freshmen, Mazel, Gene, of course, and Wilson coming in, and just really excited about what those guys bring to the table. But it's kind of continuing the trend of just getting more speed on the field in general, but especially at the wide receiver spot right here for the Gators. So utility man, a do-it-all guy right here in Abrams to add as a third wide receiver for this 2024 class. So 21 commits now. 21 right here for the Gators in the class that, hey, we were just started talking about it, can start getting up to 25, 26 if Florida can get the guys they want to get, and probably on their path of getting really close to that. They're not going to reach, not going to stretch, not take 25, 26 just for the sake of it. But with the way recruiting is going now, and Florida in a lot of battles that are coming up, they're not out of any of them. They can get to 25 and 26 pretty easy. And I think good chance we see that. Keeps Florida third in the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings. And after Alabama's big push, they jumped up with Florida, but now Florida back up to third in the On3 industry rankings as well. So back to number 3 in both rankings for the Gators. But now, you start looking at it, and one of the storylines that we were discussing of how this class would finish, and not just outside of the numbers, but in the state of Florida, well, Abrams is another state of Florida commit. Now makes it 3 straight commitments for the Gators in the state. Went and shown, how much that probably needed to be made up if Florida was going to do so. It was a pretty low number. It's just as of a week ago. And now, but we discussed at the same time. I brought it up at the same time. The way this class was going to finish, it was mostly going to be in-state for the Gators. A lot of the targets that Florida is really hitting on to finish out this class are in the state. So now, it puts Florida with 6 from the state of Georgia and now 6 from the state of Florida. I mean, that's from where we were at there. It wasn't looking like that was going to be the case for a little while, but as we said, we know now this one, as I said, a little bit more of a surprise. He was kind of on commit watch for a little while, but you got one more, and then of course, DeAndre Robinson, the defensive tackle, defensive lineman from Orlando, going to make his decision Thursday. Florida Texas battle, another in-state. Now Florida. By the time the week's over with, you could have 7 from the state of Florida, and that would be leading the class. As of a week ago, that wasn't even the case. You had the state of Georgia leading the way for how many, for where the commits were coming from Florida. But right now, 6 from Florida, 6 from Georgia, 2 from Maryland, 2 from Mississippi, 2 from Texas, 1 from North Carolina, 1 from Virginia. Florida's class right now, 1 quarterback, DJ Lagway, of course. 1 running back in Kanan Daniels, but 3 receivers. You got a tight end now, 4 offensive linemen, 5 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 defensive backs. Right there for the Gators. So that's where it's at right now. There's your update for the class of 2024 right after this commit. And hey, there we go. Let's get back. Get back into the comments. I know it's been a bit since join you live here. It's been a busy summer, so sometimes just easy to kind of pre-record the episodes and put them out there. But hey, with this bit of news right here, the breaking news of a new commit, I had to go live for you guys right here. But a little inside joke there. Mariah Carter, 290 or bust. Dave, 290 or bust. I had to Gators Breakdown Plus Discord, and had to comment that this class, probably needed to be about 290, and they're holding me to it. So some good inside joke stuff there going on in the Discord. But I see, of course, a lot of talk of other receivers out there, maybe on flip watch. Chance there from Miami. Is he still on flip watch? And I think we'll see. We'll see where that one goes. As I said, this one was a little bit of a surprise as far as timeline goes. So we'll see where that one happens. I didn't see what you said about Chance Robinson on Thursday. Is there something new that come up? And I've been busy for the last hour and a half or so. So maybe put it back in the comment section of what was said. Are you guys feeling good about him on Thursday? Are you hearing something might happen on Thursday? I mean, look, it's been kind of wait and see. We thought that may have happened soon, but no, I haven't been looking at the comments up until this point of the episode. So, but yeah, I know Chance, and that's just kind of been there. And hopefully it happens. I like that kid a lot. Let's go. Mr. Potato Head said, too many small receivers, need more 6'4", 6'5" guys. I do think if you see any more in this class, yeah, you won't see them on this smaller, speedy side. You'll get your bigger body type of receivers. But hey, Florida need this infusion of the speed at the position. And I know where some people were saying maybe a chance for a commit tomorrow. From what I could gather, Abrams was supposed to be tomorrow and maybe went a day ahead, so there might be some confusion there. I don't know for sure. That's just me thinking out loud. But then, if you're looking at right here, a chance of a flipping Chance Robinson on Thursday, maybe DeAndre. I mean, if they're going by the name Robinson, it might be DeAndre, the defensive lineman there from Orlando, that is committing on Thursday between Florida and Texas. So, but not saying Chance wouldn't, but just saying at the same time that DeAndre Robinson is committing on Thursday. So just make sure there's no confusion there. I haven't heard much on a timeline for Chance or anything like that. So, and that's not even me kind of maybe even keeping something secret so it just doesn't get out. No, I really have not heard much since his visit, where there might be some thought he would soon after the visit, but of course we're kind of far away from that now. So Brad Dugan said how Florida's looking for Jordan Seaton, 4-star offensive tackle from IMG. Heard Corey Bender said we're in a really good spot. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. In a good spot in it for him. So we'll see. Ori Williams is probably where I'd lean a little more for the next offensive lineman, and maybe to close the class out. Oh, there we go. I see Sam Atwell put it in there too. How about Seaton or Williams for offensive line? Yeah, Williams is probably what I'm hearing the most on my end. Maybe Corey's hearing something different, but. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. G says, I guess it's okay for this class to stack up on fast wide receivers and shift the focus on the next class on a couple of bigger receivers. You never and can't say no to talents like Abrams. Yeah, and at the same time, I kind of glossed over this. I mean, you're hurting FSU at the same time. So, of course, I'm sure we'll get we were moving on. We didn't want him. We know that happens. It happens on Florida side a lot too. If somebody leaves the class, but yeah, I was wondering about this when Jeray Hawkins committed. I was wondering initially. I wasn't so sure it was still going to happen. And then as time went on, started hearing, okay, it still can happen. Well, it did happen. But I was wondering after Hawkins committed, what would the rest of the class look like, and what that. So I think we probably do start looking at Chance and being the next guy. As I said, Jeremiah Smith. I think we still bring it up. As I said, in the end, I just don't see it. But I'd love to be wrong. Absolutely love to be wrong. But man, such an exciting. I didn't see this episode coming. I mean, no rest for the wicked, I guess. And you guys know we'll get you covered right here. But okay, coming back. Okay, I think I'm mostly caught up on the comments. Everybody, thanks for hopping in. Yeah, Brian Fisher even put it in there, and thanks for the little donation there. Let's see if FSU says, "quote We didn't want him." Oh, Brian, you know it's coming. You know it's coming. And look, it could be true. I mean, each school's got their own situations in what they're doing and how they're dealing with things. But KJ says FSU thinks they're flipping Childs later this month. I've seen some talk about that too. Or another Gator commit. No, I haven't. Now, granted, I don't follow their end of it too much. But KJ, I haven't heard anything of anybody, especially Childs. I would not see him flipping from Florida to FSU. I'd be surprised by that one. Now, if it's somebody else, okay, maybe I can do some digging from here. But I have not personally heard. Now, I did hear the talk. I heard the same talk you've heard. But as far as specifics go and going any deeper than that, I haven't been able to confirm anything on that. So, but I have kind of heard it as well. Duckman says, when does Mincy commit? No timeline on that. I would say before the season starts, before the high school season starts. I do believe he is one who I believe he's mentioned wanting to get a decision out of the way. If I can remember right, getting a decision out of the way before his high school season starts. So maybe so. I don't know if that would speed up LJ McCray at all. And what's going on there. And I know there's some kind of conflict of what he's doing the last weekend of the month about, going to Georgia and not, skipping Florida's barbecue. What it sounds like is he may do both, visit Georgia on I hope I have my days right off the top of my head, Georgia on the 28th and Florida on the 29th. So that may happen. It may turn out that way, but that's kind of been the talk of the day is what LJ McCray will be doing at the end of the month. So where's that one? Yeah, there is that one. Mr. Bird, are we moving on from Jordan Ross? I think so. Just kind of the way this defensive class has played out. I mean, I won't necessarily say moved. I think Florida's been prepared in way they've, Amaris Williams now basically being labeled a edge end. Waller can kind of play that a little bit, but he'll be more of a linebacker. But with Amaris Williams kind of getting that label from what we're hearing, that I think Florida's prepared to move on. They will certainly, kind of like Jeremiah Smith, you leave room for him. But I think the way Florida has recruited and some of the numbers that they have there that maybe scare Ross away. Not so sure on that. I do want to do some more digging on that as far as Ross goes and the numbers Florida has. But he's one, I think, if he called the staff tonight and says, "Hey, I want in," you're letting him in. they're not moving on in that regard. They may be moving on as far as he may be leaning somewhere else. And Florida has adjusted their plan for who they already have in the class. But no, they're not completely moving on and be like and returning down if he wanted in the class. From what I'm hearing, he would still have a spot if he wanted in. Oh, alrighty. There's some comments on the shirt. Yeah, there we go. I love the shirt. One of my, it's kind of different. I haven't seen Nike and all that stuff. They'll kind of repeat some designs, but yeah, I like the little kind of simplistic look there. But yeah, there we go. All right. Hurdle 25 brings up a good point. Hopefully, Florida can double back on TJ Moore. Maybe. We'll see what happens there. I don't know. I haven't heard much on that. I'll see if I can maybe even follow up on that one as well. Peyton, I talked about how many we're taking this cycle a couple times last episode, this episode as well. But if Florida can get the right 25, 26, they'll get there. They will certainly try to get to that point. All right. There we go. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. One more commitment for the Gators. Been a fun summer. Not ready for it to end. Hopefully we get to do this again on Thursday. Hopefully when DeAndre Robinson's making his decision. Defensive lineman from Orlando between Florida, Texas. Hopefully it's the Gators. Hopefully it's the Gators right there. But looking forward to that one. On Thursday. So, all right, that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me on this episode of Gators Breakdown.